Next up, at UFC 305, we have the featured prelim of the evening. And the UFC said this is a monster card with a monster main event. And we are going to put together a fight that may... Is this what you're laughing at?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. I was about to go in on... I'm finishing my bit. And the UFC said, I'll put together a monster card top to bottom because we don't go to Australia very often. And we have an amazing main event that has been in the works for 2 full years. And we're going to go out and we're going to get the worst siblings that any of these fighters could possibly have. We're going to get Justin Tafa, the Wish version. We're going to get Johnny Walker, the Wish version. Gilbert Burns, the Wish version. Go get me the brothers who are not nearly as good.
Valter
Does anybody have Alex's?
The Wish version. I mean, he's worse than that.
Yeah, he's the pets.com version.
What you got wrong with pets.com? What the fuck?
They went out of business in the .com era.
The Toys R Us version.
No, Toys R Us was that was great.
Well,
Toys R Us is better than anything.
Anymore. What's one purchase that you remember making at Toys R Us on your own as a kid? I remember the first thing I bought at Toys R Us on my own.
As an adult? Well, you mean on your own? Like you walked in?
Like as a kid, the first purchase you ever made? Because I assume your parents would buy you stuff every once in a while, but the first time you bought anything on your own,
the first one
like
I
with
can ever
allowance
remember,
money or whatever.
It wasn't Toys R Us because that was far.
Well, the question was Toys R Us.
Well, then I don't know if we ever purchased anything at Toys R Us.
All right, then you go with your stupid story. Just get it over with. Go.
We walked down the railroad tracks to the shopping plaza. We had a Toy Works, and I bought South
Free
Park
massages in the back.
South Park. I bought South Park on Nintendo 64 in middle school.
Toy World? Was that what you said?
Toy Works.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Just behind the curtain there, little boy.
What's your first purchase? I'm gonna have to redo this intro for this.
It was
one. What's your first purchase?
It was a regular PlayStation 1 extender, so you could have 4 slots for controllers. You know, you plug it in, so instead of 2 people play, you do like multi whatever. And I didn't have friends to be able to use those, but it was like a goal of mine, right? Like let me get ahead of this and buy this just in case I happen to make friends this year. You know, this might be the year where people come to my birthday and I need all these slots for games. But typically it's just me and my sister.
You don't plug into this one.
Or sometimes, you plug in both controllers. You sit there and, I can play against
the wrestling game. Yeah.
Royal Rumble. I'm beating your ass. I'm beating your ass. Yeah. No, you're not. No, you're not. Oh, got you now.
All right. Let's break down this fight. We got Junior Tafa taking on Valter Walker. Sounds like a vampire saying Walter Walker. Junior Tafa, 5-2 in his career. He doesn't have a very long MMA career, and that's because he was a professional kickboxer. 3-2 in his last 5, coming off that short notice loss to Marcos Rogerio de Lima, where he literally stepped up, I think at the weigh-ins or right before the weigh-ins. They did the whole switcheroo. Taking on Valter Walker, 11-1 in his career, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off the first loss of his career, which was one of the most embarrassing performances we have ever seen in our entire life. Junior Tafa, nasty kickboxer. He's got some power. He's got good footwork. He has a willingness to engage. He's Justin Tafa's younger brother, but they physically are not the same. He's long. He's lean. He's not the short, stocky guy that can defend takedowns somewhat well. He's got good power. He's got a good chin. He's a little faster than Justin, a little more athletic. The question has always been, do these high-level kickboxers that come over have the takedown defense? And Junior does not. We watched him get pushed around a little bit by Kamaru Usman's Wish version brother in Muhammad Usman. We're taking on...
Not even close either.
It is... Dude, I didn't realize how many siblings were in this freaking sport until I started rattling them off for this breakdown.
Yeah, like...
Oh, there we go. The Diaz brothers.
No, it was... I was going to say Ryan Hall and Uriah Hall.
Yeah, they're very similar. Randy Couture almost fought on the same card as his son, or maybe they actually did. They were trying to, but Randy was old and the UFC hated him at that point, and his son was in Bellator. Then we got Valter Walker. He's Johnny Walker's brother. Like Johnny, he's enormous. He's 6'6". He's an imposing guy. Unlike Johnny, he's a Nurmagomedov. He's diving at legs. He's shooting a million takedowns. He's not the spinning, kicking, like fancy striker. He is a straight up through and through wrestler, and that's because he spent a giant chunk of his career and life in Russia, where he's been grinding on those wrestling mats. His striking is not good at all. His gas tank is horrendous, and he's coming off that ridiculous UFC debut where he was exhausted after about 30, 40 seconds. Neither one of these guys are very good, and I did a whole speech, ranting and raving. You can't bet on Valter Walker. If you're thinking about betting on Valter Walker, just go watch his last fight and then look yourself in the mirror and be like, is that a guy I can trust with my money? And then I saw the plus in front of his odds, and I did bet on Valter Walker. I think he can get some takedowns. Muhammad Usman took down Junior Tafa. Muhammad Usman sucks. Valter Walker has trash cardio, no striking, but he's got real nice takedowns. And Jacob shared a wonderful picture with us. Why don't you tell us about that picture and who you think wins this fight?
Okay, thanks, Angelo. Just a quick little reference here to Valter Walker. I was just doing a quick little glance on his Instagram, as I typically do, to all these fighters. And thanks for bringing this up, Angelo. Really great job by you. Great job running this show, by the way. I think you're doing fantastic. But I was on his Instagram, and he posted a picture, and it's pretty interesting to me, Angelo. Here is the picture of him in that Bresky fight. Obviously large and in charge and was dominant in that fashion. It seems like he is working on his cardio, working on his abdominals. No doubt about that. Here is the follow-up picture now. And honestly, even if he didn't have any more cardio than he did, I still think he could beat a guy like Junior Tafa because he was still getting takedowns, even though he was tired in that fight. And Junior is probably one of those guys, but if he actually is taking his cardio serious and taking his fitness regimen serious, I think he has a chance to dominate this fight. He's pretty good takedowns, as you mentioned, Angelo. Great job. I got to go Valter Walker here, and I think he's got a chance to really dominate. Go ahead, Angelo.
If you guys are wondering what the hell he just did and why he did that, this is how easy it is to get Jacob to go into a bit. All I said was, and I just said it with some weird inflection in my voice, why don't you show him the picture, Jacob, and then let us know who you think wins this fight. It just, I said it in normal voice, but it sounded like a news. It sounded like
Thanks,
a news
Angelo.
handoff.
I'm on site here.
So that he just went news
The
route
hurricane's
for no reason.
fucking coming, and I'm the only one on the beach. I said, oh my God, I feel like we're going to die. But the news team said, nope, Jacob, you got to stay on the beach. So here it comes. Wish us luck. Thoughts and prayers.
Just literally out of nowhere. That's the difference between Jacob and the Tapology boys.
There goes a tree.
We're both on the same. There goes Valter's cardio. We're both on the same side here. Listen, if he was a favorite, if those odds stayed where they opened, I wouldn't have touched it. No way. But watching him just slowly drip out into an underdog, I was like, all right, screw it. Let's do it. And it's him and Kenan Song I parlayed for plus money because Valter's an underdog. And honestly, it should hit. Valter should Nurmagomedov his way to a win. Kenan Song should knock out Ricky Glenn. And all of a sudden, you have a parlay that's got some really good odds on it. And that's not typically my style. So I went that route, baby. $8,000 in DraftKings Fantasy. Yes, please. What?
The only thing that I do worry about a little bit, and I'll credit this a little bit to, again, with the interruption. I mean, it's been every time I open my mouth. I see you're very patient.
Mood, man. Yeah, sorry about
that. And web guy Josh kind of mentioned this as well, and it's something to think about for Valter is you saw Makayev talk about, they told me, don't be boring, don't wrestle.
Oh, yes.
You saw Carl Williams, it started coming out, and I don't know how true this is, but somebody was in Carl Williams' camp, and somehow it got out that the UFC also told Carl Williams, hey, don't be boring. Don't wrestle. You got to try to do some stuff here. If they're in the ear of Valter Walker and they're telling him not to wrestle, it could end up very, very bad. So I don't know if that's actually a thing that's happening behind the scenes. It seems a little bit crazy, but when you look at the performances of Makayev and of Carl Williams and stuff, it's like that's not good,
And that was a great point out by Josh the Web guy. That's a great point. You bringing it up now. Let's all collectively, we have almost 700 people watching us live. This video hopefully does.
Like the stream if you haven't already. We're trying to pop those numbers up.
Hopefully this video does about 20-something thousand views. If Valter Walker does not wrestle, then we all know, we just talked about it collectively, then we all know the UFC is in their ear, and from this point forward, we cannot trust anybody who needs takedowns to win because the UFC is meddling, and that really fucks with our bets, and honestly, we should all sue the UFC for antitrust or something. You're fucking with the outcomes. You're fucking with the outcomes. This is a professional sport, and you're fucking with the outcomes. That quite literally could be illegal. I don't know, but it could be illegal.
And I just, I didn't want to mention this or bring it up. I don't like to brag about myself, but I have been secretly going to law school, and I passed the bar.
Is it illegal?
What?
Is it illegal, Mr. Law School?
I'll have to check my book.
Okay. Well, thanks for bringing that up.